Hey, 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 this is Lady Justice Liberty Press, and I am so proud to be presenting this case for review today. Hey, hey, hey. This case comes to you from no other than someone from our fine community, Andrew Sheets. Andrew Sheets, case number 24CV 00958. The plaintiff, Andrew Sheets. The defendants, Charlotte County, Florida, Weezer Security Service, and also the judge. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Stay tuned and you shall see. Hey, hey, hey.
You know, imagine you have a winning lottery ticket, a huge one, but you wait and you wait until there are literally 5 minutes before the lottery office closes for good to cash it in. I mean, one wrong turn, a flat tire, anything, and poof, it's all gone. Well, today we're going to dive into a legal case that cut it just that close. We're talking about a lawsuit filed with only 1 day to spare. Seriously, this whole story hinges on a ticking clock that almost ran out. And when I say almost, I really mean it. That's it. Just one single day. Think about that. If the person who filed this lawsuit had waited just 24 more hours, his constitutional claims, no matter how strong they were, would have just vanished. Gone. Forever. So let's break this timeline down so you can see just how tight it was. The incident itself, that happened way back on October 21st, 2020. But the lawsuit, that wasn't filed until October 20th, 2024, literally the last possible day before the 4-year deadline. And this whole photo finish drama really puts a spotlight on a super important legal concept. It's called the statute of limitations. You can think of it like a legal stopwatch. The government starts at the moment an incident happens, and once that clock runs out, that's it. Your right to sue is just gone, forever. So that 1 day difference we're talking about, it wasn't just for dramatic effect. It was the only thing that kept this entire case alive.
Hey, 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 Lady Justice Liberty Press. Season 7, The Revenge of the Records. Who's in?
Okay, so what was this incident that started the 4-year countdown in the first place? Well, for that, we've got to rewind the clock all the way back to the 2020 election season. So here are the key facts, according to the lawsuit. You've got a citizen journalist, Andrew Sheets. He's at the Charlotte County Library, which was being used as an early polling place, and his goal is to film the closing of the polls. But while he's there, he gets stopped. He's told he's trespassing and has to leave the property. And who told him to leave? An election worker, a county supervisor, and a private security guard. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The crucial point isn't just that he was removed from the property. No, it's about who was apparently allowed to stay. And this is where the real constitutional argument at the heart of the lawsuit starts to take shape. This right here is the central argument. Sheets is alleging that while he, the citizen journalist, was being kicked out for filming, mainstream news crews were allowed to stay and do the exact same thing. You see the issue here? This apparent double standard is what points directly to a very specific kind of constitutional violation. That violation has a name. It's called viewpoint discrimination. And this is a huge deal under the First Amendment. Basically, it means the government can't pick and choose who gets to speak or report based on whether they like their message, or in this case, based on what kind of camera they're holding. And that brings us to the core principle at stake here. The lawsuit is basically arguing that if a public space is open for one camera, it has to be open for all cameras. You can't just grant access to one type of journalist and deny it to another. The First Amendment, as they argue, just doesn't play favorites. But wait, there's another really fascinating legal layer to this. Remember how a private security guard was involved in removing him? Now, normally, you can't sue a private company for violating your constitutional rights, right? Because those rights are meant to protect you from the government. But, and this is a huge but, there's a big exception. And this leads us to a really fundamental question in civil rights law. Who is actually considered the government in a lawsuit like this? When does a private person or a private company stop acting privately and start acting like they are the government?
Well, the answer lies in something called the state actor doctrine. It's a legal principle that says if a private person or company is acting on the government's behalf or taking direct orders from a government official, then they can be sued for civil rights violations, just as if they were a government employee themselves.
And that is exactly the argument being made here. The lawsuit is claiming that by taking orders from that county supervisor, the private guards effectively put on, you could say, the cloak of the government. He wasn't just a private guard anymore. He was acting with the authority of the state.
So you'd think, okay, pretty compelling constitutional argument. But even so, this case immediately ran into some major trouble. Why? Because in the world of law, how you do something is often just as important as what you're doing.
And this brings us right back to that lottery ticket analogy we started with. Filing at the absolute last minute? Well, that created a mad dash. And in that rush, it looks like some pretty critical mistakes were made.
Yeah, there were two alleged procedural missteps that immediately put the entire case in jeopardy. First, the way the lawsuit was delivered or served was apparently all wrong. It was reportedly just handed to a secretary at the security company, which a judge later ruled wasn't the proper way to do it. And second, they sued a magistrate judge. The problem there is that judges typically have something called judicial immunity, which basically means you can't sue them for doing their job.
And this, right here, is such a brutal but important lesson about the legal system. It's built on a mountain of rules and procedures. You could be 100% right on the big constitutional issue, you could have all the facts on your side, but if you mess up the paperwork, if you don't follow those procedural rules to the letter, your entire case can get thrown out before anyone even hears the arguments. Which really leaves us with this final, lingering question. This case is now a battle on two completely different fronts. You have the fundamental First Amendment principles on one side, and the unforgiving, nitpicky reality of legal procedure on the other. It really forces you to wonder, in the eyes of the law, is a perfect case with imperfect paperwork just destined to fail? How much should justice depend not just on being right, but on doing everything right along the way?
This one's for the record. For every camera they smash, every right they violated, every lie they told under oath. Circle this day on your calendar 3 times a week. Let's go. Happy fuck the cops day. Say it loud, say it proper. Every badge that broke the law then hid behind the crowd. Happy fuck the cops day. Blue wall coming down, constitutional violations all across this town. They say protect and serve, but who they really protecting? Qualified immunity got them feeling like they above correction. Plant evidence in your car, lie straight to your face. Choke you out on camera, then claim they felt unsafe. Body cam malfunction right when the truth occurs. Internal investigation always gets deferred. We investigated ourselves, found nothing wrong. Meanwhile, another family singing that same sad song.